Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been going over a bootstrap website that we're building from scratch as part of the Rankin Technical College Summer Adventure Academy website design. Now, I went back and all the stuff I had in here for that brand, I retyped it in. I don't know what I had in there that was wrong, but you'll notice it now says Rankin Technical College. So I am now done with my navigation bar. Okay, so I'm going to close this, and what I want to do is to come back here, and this was part 2. You'll notice nothing up my sleeve, there's nothing in part 3, but I'm going to take everything that was in part 2, copy it to the clipboard, go into part 3, and paste it in. And once again for part 3, I believe the only file that I'm changing here is the index file, so I'm going to open that up. And the first thing I want to do is change that so it's part 3. Alright, so far, this is the third part. In part 1, we just had our hello world. In part 2, we put in our navigation bar. And we're now in part 3, which really right now looks exactly like part 2. So there's nothing else in it that's new right now. Alright, what I want to do is I want to come down, and after this, I want to come down to the very bottom, and it's going to look a little strange for a while, but you'll see what I want to do in just a second. Div class equal navbar. This one is going to be a navbar inverse. Alright. And a navbar, oh, I don't know what happened there. Inverse, and we'll have a navbar fixed bottom. Once again, let's end our div tag. So what did I do? It's much easier as always to show you. Look at the bottom of the screen, please. All right, this is what I've added. That's going to be my footer that's on the bottom. I am going to make that darker so that that sticks out. Okay, so that's all we've added so far, so let's just keep going. Oh, again, I should say here, for screen reader's sake, role equal navigation. Okay. Doesn't change the way anything looks. If I bring this back up again and I refresh the screen, nothing looks different. This will only affect people who are using screen readers. All right? So, div class equal navbar, text, pull left. This means for the text that I'm about to put into my navigation bar, make it float, for lack of better words, or make it go to the left. And you might say, why? You'll start to see that, but I believe it's in the next video. Again, sorry, I'm a little bit anal about this. All right, so what text are we going to want to put in there? Well, not a lot. We have to put it into a container. And all we're going to put in there in a paragraph tag is whatever your name is. So I'm going to put in here Jeff Scott Incorporated. And I'll put it here ampersand COPY, which will put a copyright symbol in there, and the year. 2017. Whoops. A dash. And the year 2017. And my paragraph tag. Okay. So let's go back and run this again. And you'll notice it now says Jeff Scott, Inc. 2017. All right. I can't implore upon you too much that as we're going through this, what have we talked about so far? We've talked about the nav bar, right? You'll notice if I type in Bootstrap 3 nav bar, the first thing it's going to get me to is the Get Bootstrap. Get Bootstrap examples nav bar. So if you want to be able to put in this nav bar, in fact, let me do this. Let me go to Get Bootstrap. And let's find nav bar in here. Is it under CSS or is it under components? I don't see it there, so let's look under components. Nav bar. So they've got a bunch of documentation on the nav bar here, and they show you how you can build a bunch of nav bars. So if you want to build your own and you don't want to create one like I just did, or I'm sorry, it's not build your own, but if you want to use one like this, they give you the code. There's one that's similar to the one we did for the footer. All right? And there's a bunch of examples that will be in here. Sometimes when you start with the end in mind, especially when you're first learning how to do this, I'm doing it more or less from scratch, but as you start to do things yourself, you may not want to do that, at least when you're starting up. All right, so as always, go to the Bootstrap documentation, getbootstrap.com, search for whatever it is that you're looking for. All right. When we come back, because I'm finished, even though this is a short lecture, we're only at about 7 minutes, but when we come back, what I want to do is I'm going to end up way off to the right here, is I'm going to put in some social media icons. And we'll put in Facebook, and we'll put in Twitter, and we'll put in Google+. All right, just those three. So I will be back to add to my nav bar on the bottom, my footer, whatever you want to call it, in the next lecture. See you then.